the Jewish people were granted three precious gifts: Torah, the world to come, and Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael, a land of many blessings. A land of wheat, barley, grape, fig, and pomegranate. A land of olives and honey. Eretz Yisrael, an ancient land. The sheep of Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov Avinu grazed its pastures. Its old nard trees and ancient rocks and hills have been witness to thousands of years of Jewish history. Nachal Prat, the lush oasis in the desert, provided comfort for the travelers and camels, refreshing them with its springs and cool waters. Eretz Yisrael is known for its magnificent, clear blue sky. The glistening crystal waters of the Mediterranean Sea, reflecting the colors of the sky, reminds us to look up and marvel at the wonderful world Hashem created. It is here in the waters of the Mediterranean Sea that the mysterious Chilazon is found. What is so special about the Chilazon? From the Chilazon, we can create a very special dye. In the ancient times, there weren't many dyes. There weren't any synthetic dyes. Dyes were produced from nature, from plants, from greenery, and so the colors were browns, greens, yellows. There was, however, one very special dye which produced a beautiful, vibrant color. It was reserved for the kings and royals. This was the argamon and tcheles. Argamon is purple and tcheles is sky blue. The Torah mentions argamon and tcheles in the building of the Mishkan and in the clothes the Kohen Gadol wore. But most significantly, tcheles is mentioned in the Torah in regards to the mitzvah of tzitzis. As we say in Shema, V'nosenu al tzitzis hakanof pesil tcheles. You shall put in the corner of your tzitzis a blue thread. Let's go see how tcheles is done.
Welcome to Kfar Adumim, the headquarters of Ptil Tchelet, the organization that makes Tchelet these days. We're sitting exactly between Yerushalayim and the Dead Sea, someplace that David HaMelech even brought his troops through this area. So we're talking about a place that Am Yisrael's been in since they came into the land of Israel. Today we're here to talk about Tchelet, the blue string that the Torah tells us should be on our tzitzit. But where does this blue dye come from? It comes from a snail, which the Gemara calls a chilazon. So how does this magical snail give us color? You break the snail open, and there's like a little gland inside the snail. And that gland is what produces the color. This is the dye that's come out of the snail. We've let it dry, and then we've ground it down into a powder. This is Asaf, I would say the chief dyer in the Ptil Chelet factory, right? More experience than almost anybody in the world, or maybe anybody in the world, in dyeing chelet the way our forefathers dyed it. We're about to put this white tzitzit into the hot water, the dye bath that Chazal talk about, and it has to be done l'shma. L'shem mitzvat tzitzit, l'shem mitzvat chelet.
As I'm taking it out from the dye solution, you're going to see that it's totally yellowish, but just in front of your eyes, it's changing from yellow to blue. In about a minute, it's going to be much more bluish. It all happens very, very quickly. It's a matter of seconds that the oxygen causes it to change from the yellow to the green and stops where it has to be chelet, which is royal blue. The dye is going to be fixed to the fiber. It's going to stay there forever. Now you're walking with me. We go outside where we put it just outside to dry.
That you'll look at the Ptil Chelet, you'll look at that blue string and think of the blue, think of the Ein Sof, think of the beauty of God's world. And so the Chelet there reminds us to see the bigger picture, to see the beauty in God's world everywhere.
As we travel north along the beautiful Mediterranean coast, we reach the port city of Caesarea, with its great aqueduct that once served as a way to transport water in ancient Israel. Further north, we reach the lower Galilee. Perched on the top of a mountain like a bird is the city of Tzipori. Tzipori was a Jewish city since the times of the Hashmonaim and is often mentioned in the Talmud. The Sanhedrin, headed by Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, was located in Tzipori. Even after the seat of the Sanhedrin was moved to Tveria, Tzipori remained a center of Torah study. Today, when one visits Tzipori, one can find remnants of ancient houses, cisterns, and mikvahos. In the synagogue, the floor is covered with a mosaic decorated with Jewish motifs. In Tzipori lies the kever of Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, simply known as Rebbe, was a great Torah scholar and very wealthy. Rebbe used his wealth to support the poor and needy. The most important achievement for which Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi is famous for is the compilation of the Mishnah, which ensured the survival of the Torah for the coming generations. Let's visit Menachem from Kfar Kedem.
Shalom, Mishpachat Asulin Ikarim. It's really a pleasure to see you here. We are going to take you to the Asulin family and bring you to the entrance now of the Galilee. What's the big deal about the Galilee? Everybody know about Yerushalayim, about Hebron. The big deal about the Galilee is because Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, with his students, with his Talmidim, sat here in those years and gave us the Mishnah. The first time that somebody edit for us the Jewish law. We're going to show you how they used to live, how they prepare their cheese, how they prepare their bread, how they ride on the same 4x4 vehicle 2,000 years back. We're going back now to the time of the Mishnah, 2,000 years back. לזמן של אבותינו, קדימה! We have the fig tree here, and we have the palm tree, and we have the grapes. Rimon, it means pomegranate, you see? And we have the olive tree, one of the most important trees in Israel, because what we made from the olive tree? Oil! Follow me. I lead you to the time of the ancient shepherds. And you know, it's amazing. The reason why Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, David, Moshe, all the brothers of Yosef used to be shepherds. If you're a leader, you need to have Rahmanut, Chesed. A real shepherd carry his little goats and little sheep, do you know where? On the shoulders. Every shepherd in the ancient time gets his own staff. This is the staff. How Moshe Rabbeinu made all the miracles in Egypt. He gets the staff because he used to be a shepherd 60 years. A shepherd, and after a while he becomes to be 40 years to be our shepherd. Menachem, stand, please, be our guest. Do you know who starts with Achnasat Orchim in the tent? Abraham Avinu. He saw those three people coming. He didn't know that the angel. He ran to him. He said, please, please, come over here, come to my tent. He commands Sarah, go and prepare a nice cakes, and he ran. Give them to eat some cheese, and after a while, some butter. And after he ran and slaughtered for them a little ox, and he prepared them, and they ate. And the biggest teacher about Achnasat Orchim is Avraham Avinu. All the Jewish way is to share, to give. It belongs to Hashem, and now He gives you the opportunity to use it. And when you use it, you need to share it with others. In the time of our forefathers, this amazing animal used to be the track and the tractor and the taxi and the vehicle. Okay, now we need somebody to lead you. In the ancient time, her, they said her, and they start to walk. If you want to stop him, you said ish. Her! To Yerushalayim!
The lessons of Chesed from our Avos are eternal. They guide us for all generations.
תורה, תחילתה גמילות חסדים.
The Torah is all about Chesed.
אין העולם עומד אלא על התורה, על גמילות חסדים.
The world exists on Torah, Avodah, and doing acts of Chesed.
אבל מצוות החסד היא מקיימת את עם ישראל ומעמידה אותו. בשבח הארגון החשוב והיקר עוד יוסף חי, שזה ארגון העוזר למשפחות נצרכות, ליתומים, לאנשים.
Od Yosef Chai helps the poor, the widows, orphans, the elderly, those struggling for a living.
אשרי הזוכה לתמוך בארגון החשוב עוד יוסף חי.
Od Yosef Chai helps over 8,000 families across Israel with food packages, groceries, financial aid, coupons and gift certificates, clothing and shoes, The Tov family lives in one tiny room, which serves as their kitchen, dining room, living room, hallway, and now also as nursery for their twins. Space is extremely tight, and so is their financial situation. Od Yosef Chai provides coupons to buy groceries and basic necessities.
תודה רבה לעוד יוסף חי.
Baruch Hashem, I was able to be involved in the tzedakahs here in Modi'in Elite, and especially Keren Achuzas HaChesed of Brachfeld. And we want to really thank Od Yosef Chai, which helps us so much and helps us support hundreds of families which mamish are waiting for bread and milk. And especially as Purim is coming up, they do so much for us in Matanis Levyonim. I have no idea. It's just amazing to think about it, how they do it with such a hiddur. They do it so properly, with such a good heart.
תודה רבה, תחכו למצוות, תודה רבה לכל, שיהיה לכם שבת שלום.
We really, really appreciate them.
Purim! A festive day for everyone! But some are sad. How can they feel the joy of Purim when they can't even provide for their family? They try to be happy and get into the Purim spirit with costumes and a meager Purim Seudah they can afford. Yet, they are worried.
אוי, מה זה? מעטפה. אוי, אוי, איזה יופי, מה זה? אוי, אני מתרגשת, איזה יופי. בדיוק מתאים לפורים. תודה לעוד יוסף חי על המתנה הגדולה.
פורים שמח, שמח. תודה רבה, איזה פורים שמח, תודה רבה לעוד יוסף חי, איזה סעודה מפוארת, תודה רבה לכם.
Od Yosef Chai gives matanas le'evyonim, bringing lots of joy.
I'm involved in the organization of Od Yosef Chai in Modi'in Elite. This is giving matanas le'evyonim. This is the hidush b'hidur. I know that they are counting on it. Families are very, very grateful to have the money on Purim from the organization of Od Yosef Chai.
Hundreds of volunteers distribute the matanas le'evyonim.
Starting from Rosh Chodesh Adar, the excitement starts building in the yeshiva as we begin preparing for Purim. And one of the most important preparations for Purim in our yeshiva is getting ready for our collections for Od Yosef Chai. Many of my Talmidim are involved in going around on Purim collecting at different people's homes. They prepare skits and songs, and they raise thousands of dollars on behalf of the Aniyei Eretz Yisrael. In fact, everyone in the yeshiva is involved, and they know they're making an incredible difference in the lives of the Aniyei Eretz Yisrael. What an amazing schus to be part of the incredible tzedakah of Od Yosef Chai.
Dear children, all of us, we're going out now. We're going to do our best for those poor people in Eretz Yisrael. Help Irgun Od Yosef Chai. Do the best to give for all those poor families. Loads of atzlach.